Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. Today I will be breaking down the CitizenCon panel called Talking Ship. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Thank you guys so much for the support, in particular to my latest channel member, Metal Chef 91. Very much appreciated. So, CitizenCon has now ended, and there was a lot of very interesting information shared, and over the next couple of weeks I will be breaking down everything we saw on each panel, as well as the talk between Chris and Rich at the end, just to help us all take it in and understand what was said. With that said though, today the focus is on the ship panel called Talking Ship, which had some very cool new reveals and updates on some known ships in various states of production. Now, first off, they jumped right into the new concept ship, which is the Crusader Spirit, and these are a set of brand new ships from Crusader Industries, and as mentioned, these are only in the concept phase, they are not flyable, only the concept and work has been done at this time. Now, these ships are designed to take on other manufacturers' ships, which have crews of 2, and they offer a variety of options in regards to gameplay. Now, the two ships that the Crusader Spirits compete with in general are the Cutlass and the Freelancer, which are all very similar in size, so that kind of gives you a sense of scale, and the C1 Spirit specifically covers a similar role to them. Now, the benefits of the Spirit over, say, the Cutlass and the Freelancer is A, the Crusader design, which of course is personal preference, and B, Crusader's renowned speed and agility. Now, there are 3 variants to the Crusader Spirit. There is the C1, which is a cargo hauler, the A1, which is a light medium bomber, and then the E1, which is the executive kind of VIP transport variant. For the C1, this, as I say, is the cargo hauler, which comes with 48 SEU space, which is accessed via the rear ramp. And obviously, comparing this to the Cutlass and the Freelancer, the Cutlass has 46 SEU, and the Freelancer has 66, so it's towards more to the Cutlass side of things, but in the middle of them. Now, it can also hold a variety of ground vehicles, like the Cyclone, while still having space for cargo, but of course, vehicles like the Tonk will not fit. Now, the A1 is the bomber version of the Spirit, and unlike the A2, we being the Hercules A2, the A1 comes with size 5 bombs, with the A2 coming with size 3s and size 10 ordnance. Now, on the inside of the A1, you can see all the bombs are lined up vertically, so they just drop, I suppose, with a walkway right down the middle. And this vehicle will allow you to get in, bomb away, and then get out quickly, compared to the A2, which is a lot slower. Plus, with the A2 having heavy bombs and kind of a carpet bomb option, they say that the A1 won't completely annihilate everything that you drop a bomb on. So I suppose when it comes to assaulting a location like an outpost or a settlement, for example, where you don't want to completely destroy the area and you maybe want to take it for yourself, the A1 will allow you to cause damage and disruption before maybe sending in ground troops to capture the place, rather than just completely destroying it. So a good tactical option to go along with the A2 for various reasons. Now, the E1 is the entry version of what the Genesis Starliner will be, but obviously on a much smaller scale. Now, this is split into 2 levels with VIP transport seating above, so more like first-class flight for multiple passengers compared to, say, the Phoenix, which is more of a transporter for an individual VIP and their party. But the E1 has a large panoramic glass roof, which will allow you to appreciate the views while you are travelling around, which is a nice touch. And it also has the Mixmaster drinks server at the front of the module that will allow players to choose what drink they want and have the stewards maybe bring it to you on board. Now, if you want to learn more about the Mixmaster and what that entails and what they're talking about here, because this is basically talking about the high-level plan for commercial passenger transport, I will link a post from 2015, which was written by Tony Zarevek, explaining what to expect when it comes to the full sort of passenger transport. Now, this ship is likely to be used as the testbed for expanding on the passenger transport profession, like what we saw with the Prospector and the Vulture for both mining and salvaging, as we have seen some slight glimmers of the passenger transport career coming along, with the AI commuter behavior work and rescue and transport missions getting completed recently, so allowing NPCs to firstly navigate from one location, say inside a space station or a landing zone, to your ship, then board it and sit down, and then wait until you have taken them to their desired destination. So with the E1, depending on when it's scheduled to get work on, we could see the dawn of commercial passenger transport begin opening up as a gameplay option. Now, on each variant, only the core of the ship changes, whereas the rest of it stays the same, with the cockpit or bridge having the Crusader styled side-by-side pilot-co-pilot. There are living quarters there as well, with bunks and component access behind them, and then beyond that is where the variants change the floor plan, but the rear will have the ramp. Now, personally, I do love what they have done here. In essence, we have 3 new ships, and again, utilising Crusader's style, which I know a lot of people are a big fan of. For me, I personally think it's great to see a new Cutlass Freelancer competitor, as these two have really been the only options for a ship of a great versatile side for such a long while. So offering something to compete with these two will add a lot more diversity into the average vessel that we see flying around. Now, the A1 or the Bomber Edition is also a nice new option for the combat arena, offering a choice to maybe cripple a location rather than annihilate it like the A2, and the E1 is just a great step into getting a taste of passenger transport, which I feel will be quite a unique experience in Star Citizen. Compared to other games like even Microtech Flight Simulator, you'll have that physical appreciation of seeing players and NPCs boarding your ship, taking a seat and then being waited on by the stewards will be not something we've seen in, I don't think, any game, to be fair. So a great lineup, but whether I pick one up or not, I'm kind of undecided. I'm not drawn to buy one, so we will see. But do let me know if you decide to pick one up. Now, next up, we took a look at the Drake Corsair, which kind of fills the gap for the multi-crew exploration ship from Drake. The Corsair competes with ships like the Constellation and the 600i, but as it's from Drake, you have the usual rough and ready design and a heavy amount of firepower. Now, this is a dedicated explorer ship with a crew of up to 4 people. It has a decently sized cargo hold and will allow players to stay out chartering deep space for a long period of time. Now, they did say that the wings are not just for style, it does have function, but they do also fold up for landing in hangars or tighter spaces. And I suppose once we have the controllable surfaces and more accurate simulated aerodynamics, having these wings will hopefully aid in flight, although I would be interested to see just how they do work in the simulation and whether they actually help or not. So right now they're just finishing up the final art for the Corsair, with most of its exterior now done, but they still have lighting and a bit of a polish to do, but it is in a good place. Now, going to the inside of the Corsair, starting at the cockpit, do note the homage to the original Cutlass with the little mini pilot fan, probably my favourite bit, to be fair. The cockpit is very sexy, with all the keyboards and offset screens. I do love this design, and I think this will translate down to other ships like the Caterpillar and whatnot. But the co-pilot seat behind the pilot seat transitions underneath and allows the co-pilot to control the 4 large front-facing guns. Both the pilot and co-pilot have great visibility, and they're practically sat directly above and below. Now, also on the bridge is the captain's quarters, which is basically identical in terms of size and amenities to the rest of the crew quarters, just located on the bridge. Behind the bridge is the manned turret access, kind of a corridor on the neck, with both side turrets now able to yaw at almost a full 90 degrees of freedom. So that is an extra couple of, or 4 other weapons facing forwards practically. Further back is the habitation with the remaining crew quarters, with places to store gear and a bed for each member. Now, the main area has a large seating area for crew to eat or socialise and to plan your next mission. It has a toilet and shower combi and a full chow line feeding station. And between habitation and the cargo bay is the main engineering room, which houses the vast majority, if not all, of the ship components. It is quite a unique octagonal space, with a few rooms around the edges for storage, plus one that is an airlock with a place to store weapons and armour before you board another ship. It also appears to have a lift in this area, which can take you to either ground level or to the roof, so that you can fix any damage on the top side or whatever you need to, which I think is a great addition, and I do love this idea of accessing the whole of a ship. I think that's going to be quite important, especially when we are needing to repair ships. Finally, at the rear, you have the main cargo hold that can carry an Ursa rover plus any other ship that will fit, with a large ramp and obviously the Drake styling continuing. Now, personally, this is a great looking ship. It is right up my street, and I was lucky to CCU something to it, so I really can't wait to get hold of it in 3.18, as I feel it's going to be my daily multi-crew driver. Love the interior, cockpit looks fantastic, and overall just a great design. Now, the next vehicle we got to check out was a straight-to-drivable vehicle for this year's CitizenCon, and it is the Graycat STV, or the Sport Terrain vehicle. So, the STV is designed to be a racing-type buggy to further complement all of the work going on for the racing scene from both the community and the developers, and this is capable of driving on rugged terrain. It has 4 wheels, it holds 2 people, and is kind of like an open-top sports buggy. Now, the STV is actually part of a family of vehicles with the PTV, as we know and love, which they have had a reconcept done just recently, just to keep all 3 of these vehicles in line. But we also have a future vehicle that they want to bring, being the UTV, or Utility Terrain Vehicle, which, personally speaking, looks amazing, and would be a great vehicle for patrolling maybe a large homestead, I reckon. But what a great lineup of 3 vehicles. I do hope to own them all one day. Now, the interior of the STV is quite simple, very clean visuals with switches and whatnot. The wheels are quite large, and it looks like you have a spare one on the rear, as we will eventually be able to change wheels. I think I remember them saying, having different options for different terrain perhaps. But you've got big mud guards. Also do notice the weapon racks on the side, that's a nice touch. Has a pretty cool roll cage, extra lights, components under the hood, which is cool, and even a space for a couple of small boxes at the rear. Now, they say compared to the Cyclone RC, which is a racing variant of a ground vehicle, the STV was built from the ground up to be a racing vehicle, so it has a better top speed, better handling, and a good chassis. They did also say that many of the devs and community are very excited about fleshing out racing in-game, myself included, as many come from racing game backgrounds, many of them are petrol heads, and they look forward to building more on the racing profession, which personally, I just look forward to myself. Now, the STV is available to purchase for $40 or $35 War Bond. I will probably pick one up, but for those who don't want to spend real money, which is perfectly fine, these will eventually be purchasable in-game. Maybe not for the first month, but they should come shortly after that. Now, to finish with, they are not doing the usual vote on a ship to make first, which makes no sense as they just generally make them all anyway, in whatever order they need to. So instead, we get to vote on the manufacturer of a new ship premise. And that ship in question is a large civilian mining ship that bridges the gap between the Argo Mole and the RSI Orion, as there is a lot of space between them to have kind of a stepping stone before jumping into the monster Orion, which is absolutely massive. Now, this new mining ship will increase the mining capabilities of that of the Mole, while also providing space for ground mining vehicles like the Rock and Rock DS, which I think is a great idea, as there will be no rock that you can't really attempt to crack. Now, the 3 manufacturer choices for this new mining ship are RSI, Argo, or MISC, so keeping them within the same family as all of the current mining vessels, which will also help us to determine the style that we want. And I'm really not sure which one I prefer. Maybe RSI, but that might just be because we are yet to see the full-on mining RSI vehicle. But I don't know. Do let me know what you're voting for, and I will provide the link below so that you can go and vote yourself. So that was the Talking Ship panel at this year's CitizenCon. Quite an awesome new lineup of vessels with the Crusader Spirits. Great name as well, I will say. Really looking forward to getting on board my Drake Corsair, but for me, Graycat kind of stole the show this time, with not just the STV, but the upcoming UTV, and of course the revamped PTV. All 3 look great together, and I am looking forward to having an STV in my homestead garage, so I can tinker away and try and get the most out of it while I compete in local races. Not to mention maybe patrolling the Org headquarters or the Org settlement when we can finally build in a UTV, searching for any intruders. Love it. Now, as mentioned before, I will be sure to go through all of the panels that we saw at CitizenCon this year and the conversation between Chris and Richard Tyra at the end, as there was a lot of juicy conversations there that I would like to shed a bit more light on with CR's intentions of what he meant. But with that said, if that is of interest to you, do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. We will be going over the whole live stream over at twitch.tv/supermacbrother panel by panel next week, so do also consider joining me over there. You are all more than welcome. All the links are below if you would like to join in. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind, it does the channel a big favour, and tick that notification bell if you would like to be notified when my videos go live. Again, huge thank you to my patrons and channel members. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.